I bet you don't use this club half as much as you should. The hybrid. So the hybrid is easier to get in the air, easier to strike out of thick rough, and you can actually use it as your friend to chip with around the green. So today, I'm going to show you exactly all the scenarios you can use your hybrid in, and I can assure you there's some of them where it's costing you shots because you're not using it. I am personally going to help you lower your scores. So let's start from the tee. You're trying to close out a round, you've got a great score in your hand, and you're starting to feel a little bit twitchy with driver. I know you've been in that situation before. So what about getting something that's a little bit shorter, a little bit more forgiving, and using your hybrid from the tee on those short, tight par fours. So we're going to hit this on the tee. We're then going to go down this hole and talk through the rest of these scenarios. Where I think a lot of you are going wrong with this hybrid is, well, one, not having it as your go-to, but in terms of ball position, just sort of putting it where you would have driver, thinking, oh, you know what? I'm going to put this really far forward in my stance. That is wrong. I want you to treat this like an iron, but it just looks more like a wood. Ball position wants to be a club head inside your front foot and have that concept of just sort of brushing down and through that golf ball. Don't be scared of taking a bit of a divot after. Let's get the shot tracer rolling and smash this one. So this is exactly a prime scenario. Oh, how much easier is that to hit? Have a look at this here. So I've taken just a little bit of a divot. I've broken that tee peg. I've hit down that golf ball and got a really nice strike from the tee. Yes, of course, it's not going to go as far as your driver, but it's more likely to be in play. Let's get into scenario number 2. It's funny really, the inspiration for this video was my dad. He's sometimes a little bit too proud about using a hybrid and just wanting to use long irons. Like, take this scenario here. I think we're roughly around sort of 200, 180 yards out. What would you usually use? Maybe a 4-iron, maybe a 5-iron. Whereas I've been telling him, have a look at hybrids. They're easier to get it in the air. The centre of gravity is lower and further back, and actually, we can get that ball landing just a little bit softer, even from not a very good lie in the rough. So you're more likely to hold the green. Just another reason why, Dad, and you should be gaining a hybrid. So in scenarios like this, when the ball's just sat down a little bit, I mean, it's not the worst lie in the world, but it's certainly not the best. It's a typical wintry lie or typical rough lie. It's vitally important you've got that ball back in our stance, as we already discussed. But what I focus on doing here is hitting down a little bit more on it, looking at a point just past the golf ball, not the golf ball. And just look at this club right here, right? Just look at this club, right? It's this shape. Totally different to an iron, isn't it? This means the gravity of this golf club, the centre of gravity, can be lower and further back from the face. Trust the club is going to get it in the air for you. Opposite to an iron, centre of gravity is a lot closer to the face, so this is way more forgiving, and that's why it's a lot easier for you to get it in the air and give it a hit. Okay, we'll get the shot tracer on again. The green is just sort of over this tree really, so vital that I get it up into the air. Okay, there's a scenario we're going to show you that you've not seen either. High, soft landing shot. So did you play links golf courses? Did you play parkland golf courses? Super easy for you to get yourself out of trouble. And when you're not striking it well in your game, going something that's a little bit more forgiving, well, it's a no-brainer, right? Absolute no-brainer. So this is a prime example of where you could end up at the end of your Saturday club comp, right? Nothing worse than getting here and being in a bit of a divot and absolutely making an absolute hash of it. get your hybrid out again. This be really versatile with it and get this club addressed behind that toe. And whilst doing this, I really feel as though the little bit of loft on this club will lift it over this fringe, pop it out that hole and get it running all the way to the flag. Now, if you just come behind me now, you can see how sort of vertical my shaft is right here and how I'm just sort of putting a putting stroke on it. But because that club face is a little bit springier than my putter, it's got a little bit more loft. It gets it out that hole and gets it rolling out like a putt. Here we go. Look at that, just pops up, pops out and starts rolling up towards that flag. So it's so useful. So many scenarios you can use your hybrid for. I mean, if times do get desperate, you can even use it to putt with. Oh, nearly. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the same time.